Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we vote on a lot of bills, many very important issues. Rarely do we have an opportunity to weigh in on an issue of such significance. This legislation that stands before us today is a game changer. Make no mistake about it, it's a game changer. Now look, I'd like to ask a few simple questions. We've heard a lot of rhetoric today. I'd like to ask a few simple questions. Do you believe the government masterfully manages every enterprise it controls? Do you believe the role of the government is to develop in-house private label liquor brands to compete against and undercut private industry, private enterprises? Do you believe our state government here in Pennsylvania should undercut our own Pennsylvania wineries by signing a contract with a California winery to develop a private label brand, then turn around and advertise this LCB-created brand heavily, giving it preferential treatment and placement in the state store system? Do you believe it's the role of this government to clerk Jack Daniels? Do you believe it's the role of the government to spend $4.72 million a year to advertise wine and hard liquor? Do you believe it is the role of the government to create, finance, and place radio ads asking people to buy vodka and then drink it with their mother to celebrate Mother's Day? Or do you believe that the government should get away from the inherent conflict of interest that comes with regulating and selling the same product? Policing and advertising the same product. Do you believe that a well-regulated private sector, frankly, can run a business responsibly and efficiently? You know, we don't have to guess at the answers to these questions. We can look at 48 other states for the answer. 48 other states. And Mr. Speaker, I've heard a few folks today who have spoken against this legislation talk about how it's a big win for the big box stores and gores small business, and frankly, Mr. Speaker, that is absolute baloney. This bill gives beer distributors, who are the very definition of small business, the opportunity to enhance their business by getting into wine and liquor at, frankly, a very reasonable cost. And Mr. Speaker, we have heard an awful lot today from folks about the social ills of alcohol and how this bill is an expansion of alcohol in the Commonwealth. Several speakers have spoken very passionately about this, how we need to exercise control, and I'd like to make some points on this. I recognize I've only been here for a little while. I've only been here in this House for 27 months. But during my time here, we've made a few votes that expand the availability of alcohol in this Commonwealth. And you know, Mr. Speaker, when we had those votes, I heard almost nothing about how giving folks more opportunity to buy alcohol will lead to more social problems. I point to House Bill 242 of last session, which passed this chamber and the Senate overwhelmingly. This bill included an expansion of the special occasion permit to public radio and television stations. It allows zoos to apply for public venue licenses, allowed malt beverage manufacturers, distributors, and importing distributors to sell malt or brewed beverages for additional hours, completely gutted the regulations we had on happy hours and dramatically expanded them. I hear some applause from the minority side of the aisle. I mean, if you don't think that's going to expand alcohol consumption. Allowed for more brewery sales and container sizes, and on and on and on. You know, I'll state I was one of the very few to vote against that bill because I do not support an expansion of alcohol. So you might ask, with a track record like that, why am I strongly in support of House Bill 790? Because I'm interested in seeing the state get out of a business it has no business being in. Because I'm interested in giving our mom and pop beer distributors an opportunity to expand their business, and because I do not believe this bill will increase the negative social effects of alcohol any more than we see today in the Commonwealth, and if I did, I'd vote against it. There's a very similar system to what is proposed in House Bill 790 in place in most of the states that surround our Commonwealth. And last I checked, Delaware had not fallen into the Atlantic Ocean, and neither has New Jersey, despite some rumors. In my view, the social ills argument is a red herring and an attempt to derail a very good and well-constructed bill. Now, second, this bill increases enforcement and focuses the LCB on its rightful role as a regulator of the sale of alcohol. This bill provides for undercover police officers in locations that retail wine and hard liquor, which amazingly is not the case today. Now, in closing, Mr. Speaker, I am not one who supports change for change's sake. I still have a rotary phone at my house. I even downloaded a rotary phone application for my iPhone. Mr. Speaker, this is not simply change for change's sake. This is a core, defining issue of free enterprise and consumer choice. And I realize that there are probably some here today who, in all sincerity, would like to move forward on this issue, but for various reasons will cast a no vote. I encourage you to rethink your no vote. The people of Pennsylvania have spoken loudly and clearly. They are in favor of moving forward. Again, this is a defining issue. Are you in favor of consumers and small business? Or are you in favor of a government-run monopoly with a track record of such innovations as the unmanned wine kiosk? A government-run monopoly that fails to stock its state stores with more than a couple token bottles of our own Pennsylvania wines. A government-run monopoly that brags about how one can order from an unmatched selection of product from around the world on its website, yet lists only 15 bottles of wine from in-state wineries available for sale there. A government-run monopoly so poorly designed that it forces people to break the law and drive across state lines just to buy the products that they can't obtain here in Pennsylvania. One of the people that broke the law in that matter was the opponent that I beat in the last election for one of his campaign fundraisers. Mr. Speaker, in my view, the choice is clear. The people of Pennsylvania deserve better, and I encourage an affirmative vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.